Very similar, very similar. I typically consider my harvest beginning at the flush. I keep a good close eye on my trichomes as well, looking for about the same. I don't mind, you know, if you've got a 90-10% in terms of milky trichomes and a dash, like called sprinkle of amber trichomes. You often see a little bit of clear in there as well. There's always going to be immature. There's always going to be degraded trichomes, but you are looking for a predominantly milky trichome abundance. When I start to see that, I know it's flush time. I need to start flushing. Typically, flushes will last about 2 weeks, like 10 days, give or take. Ensuring that I add as much, well, it's not as much water. I've seen a lot of people oversaturate during a flush. You don't need to add, you know, 100 gallons of water to a 5-gallon pot. It's a bit excessive. I've seen people just run their tubs. You know, they turn their tub on, or the tub, and they just run it. You don't need to do that, because at a certain point you've gotten rid of the excrement in the pot, and now you're just running water through the pot. It's not going to make it go faster. There's still stored nutrients that you need to wait till it depletes and uses, and it excretes, and then you rinse or flush those out again. But to digress, it's as soon as I see that milky abundance, I know it's flush time. Once I flush, I do prefer to have not a dry pot, but you know, a pot that's perhaps ready to be watered, but not dry. And I don't cut as whole plants, because I wash. I do perform a wash on my buds every harvest. Why do I wash my buds? I know this is going to be in the comments, so I'll just answer it. Because they're dirty, and so I wash them. I'm going to nutshell that one, because I have plenty of content that covers this subject at length. But in order to get it into the bucket, I cut each branch, which, yes, does increase how fast it's going to dry. It's going to increase the time it dries. So what I do is try to manipulate the environment to increase that moisture. So I'm going to have a higher moisture area, somewhere around that 60, 70 close % in my environment, to ensure that I can draw out as long as I can. Because I snip each branch, I don't get like 2 weeks dry time. I'm looking more around a 8 to 12, like a 12-day dry time, give or take. And that's it, right to chop, right there. That's my preparation.
So what's your solution for the washing then? I know, but for the people listening or watching, what's the process, and what do you put in the wash, so to speak? Not Dawn dish soap, right? Yeah, honestly, dude, I just read a good article about it on Grow Science. I'm working on a Grow Science versus Grow Science, and there's some science to washing your buds. I've been looking into it, and there was a test done. There was some sort of institute, and they were seeing recently, and they washed hemp, and then they're doing another test, waiting for results on the flower for cannabis, and seeing any degrade to the, you know, outside part of it. But the reason they did it was outdoor, of course, is a big reason. But they're seeing for indoor that it could be beneficial too if you don't have the most sealed, tight room with
which I don't,
great clean air and filtration, and you have animals or things like that where you're frequently going in that room. I mean, literally, even dead skin follicles can go in the air. It's, if you want totally clean stuff, or if you're going to cook with it even, you may want to consider washing your buds. Myself, I don't do it, but I think for some people who may be interested, I think knowing how to do it would be good. If they don't want to find you on YouTube, if they allow you here.
And actually, as I said that, if you were to go search that content, I'm not entirely sure that content is now available on YouTube. You might have to go searching over at CLTV.
Yeah, watch CLTV.com.
Watch CLTV.com to find some of that. However, it's a 3-step process. There's 3 buckets, 5 gallons of room temperature water in each one. The first pail has my method, only because you guys know that I'm a dinosaur, and I'm not one to change very quick.
Well, whenever you send an invite, we'll start.
1 cup of lemon juice and 1 cup of baking soda mixture goes into the first pail, and followed by the 2 second pails that have nothing in them, just the room temperature water. Now there's also another mix which I haven't looked in more detail to, but initially sounds like it's a more invasive wash to try to get rid of like mold is if you're using like a peroxide mix wash. Now there might be other reasons, and it might even be more effective than the one I'm using, but I digress. So it's just a simple wash. The most common questions are: does it degrade? Does it degrade? Do you lose trichomes? Yeah, of course. Yeah, you do lose trichomes, but these trichomes are weak and degraded trichomes. These aren't strong, mature, the ones that are getting you high trichomes, because they're gonna stick onto the plant. These handle waterings in terms of rain, wind, elements in the environment outside that they're not going to be susceptible to. Lord mercy.
I'm not wrong. You didn't just hear that. Anyone listening or watching?
God, I got worse. I made a fucking a pipe out of a rubber eraser one time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is... So, I'm not too worried about a little bit of hair, but I do see the reason why doing it. And I appreciate you breaking it down, and I like to pull that out of you every time we talk, so that way you can get more detail. Because really, the more you explain it, the better I understand it. So I'm like, okay, I get it.
And the common test I tell people to do is, and a lot of people say that my garden is clean. I clean my garden 2 times a week, to which I say, you're cleaning it too much, and you're introducing more things than you are you're preventing. Get out of there. Get out of there. Quit cleaning your room 2 times a week. But go up to your lights with your bare finger when they're not incredibly hot, and just run your finger across the top of your light, from one end to the other, and then look at your finger. You're going to be amazed what you see on your light.
And then lick your finger.
And then lick your finger.
It's like, don't lick your finger.
You know, it's funny, a lot of people are going to burn themselves.
I know.
Like,
It was hot.
No, it's blistering. Pigeons, was that what you expected?
God. If you're watching this during the premiere, I'll let you know. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But what I do want you to do is, with your remaining thumb, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn the bell on with all the notifications, so you know exactly when From the Stash Podcast drops here on YouTube, because we appreciate you guys for doing that. That helps us, you know, your commenting, your participation.
Did we get an invite?
That's huge for our channel. And the thumbs up, it really helps the algorithm just pick the stash out of
a little push out of the stash.
Out of the group. Out of the stash. Find the stash.
Out of the stash. You know, it's funny, like, me and Chris have, like, the exact same process. You know, I like to slow dry mine. Also, I used to do it in pieces. I have a dry rack that, you know, stacked up like that, cut it into pieces, and it would dry pretty
Fuck,
quickly. I noticed a
man.
lot of times that I'd have buds that are kind of compressed or flattened because they were sitting there, and I don't like that. Or they'd stack a little too much, and I'm not a fan. And I'd like to just hang a few plants if you got the space to do it. Obviously, hang a few plants. You can get a grow tent. It'd probably be the best option in my opinion. Use a grow tent for it. Some people would swear that that's not. They'd rather have open. Like some people have a lung room in their house. Depends on what you got, your situation is. But whole plant for me every time. And then when it goes to trimming, I'm a dry trim guy. I don't know. I'm a dry guy. That's my thing. So you guys may do it differently. I do it mainly because again that slow process. I like the slow drying. And I noticed for me when I've cut it a little earlier, it seemingly that chlorophyll's there a little longer. It's got that green smell just a little bit longer. In comparison, I feel like I'm cured up once I pull off those dry leaves. But it's hard. Honestly, the Trim Daddy with a dry run compared to a wet run is a little more of a challenge. So you'll see that if you try to go dry.
Right.
Yeah, I also like to do a dry trim. Now, drying conditions, it might vary a little bit from you guys. I used to do 50% RH and then room temperature, so about 70 degrees Fahrenheit is what I used to do when I first started. That's what I read.
For your dry?
For my dry. Okay. Now, over the years, I've increased that to get a little bit slower of a dry, especially since I live in a very dry climate. I live in a desert region, and natural humidity is about 30-ish%. So 55% up to 60% now I'm doing is about 60% RH is what I like in my drying conditions, and that gets me till about 7-8 days it takes to fully dry down to where I want it. And then room temperature is still fine, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If I can get lower than that, a lot of people do 60-60. They do 60% RH, 60 degrees. And that seems to work well. The lower temperature seems to work a bit better. So that's what I do for the dry. And then when I do a dry trim, I prefer the dry trim over the wet trim. It's just, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier to trim as long as, when it's dry versus when it's wet, as far as gunking up. I know that depends on the trichomes and the cultivar you have and how frosty those buds are, but for the most part, in my opinion, people will disagree with me. There's people who love wet trimming and are dedicated to wet trimming versus dry
trimming. That's
trimming.
Why we want to hear from you.
But the dry trim, it just seems like it can be a little bit faster, in my opinion, and so I do like doing dry trim.
Again, different from you guys. I do both, and since having the Trim Daddy, shout out to them, non-sponsored post comment, it's wet, like it's so much faster doing a wet trim, but there's always two stages. I like to pluck off my main leaves, the main fan. I use
what?
each part of the plant for different things.
Some of that ZD stuff? Why?
Had a use for the stems.
Was I not allowed to?
No, babe.
It was already plenty gone. Is it enough left for some right now?
Your plants, and they're clean there. Yeah. Animals will love them.
Oh, I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't even know. However,
put me some to the side. I must have some chicken for lunch.
The first part of the trim is plucking off the fan leaves.
Cooking this chicken or what?
I use my fan leaves generally.
I'll cook it tomorrow. We got some chicken to eat for tomorrow because we got that stuff in that container. If I eat some ziti now, I'm cool for the night, and I got chicken for tomorrow for lunch.
Big stem off.
You sound shiesty right now.
Because they don't get put into.
You know how you sound.
So I take them off and I wash them.
I'm saying.
Throw them in whole with some strawberries, little pineapple. Is what I had this morning.
Yeah, because I'm gonna eat it in a little bit.
Of coldness, so it's not warm drink. It's no fun. Sounds fire. And it's really good. It's really good. The leaves have proven nutrition already in them. You may as well take benefit to that. So great for cooking. The other trim, the sugar leaves and the close trim, that's all going to be primarily washed because I'm going to use those for concentrate. Those go into my concentrate bin, and boom, that's pretty much what feeds my dabs around here. And then the fine trim is, you know, those fine sugar leaves. I didn't know this, and I'm sure maybe Rob, you can attest to this. I didn't know that a sugar leaf joint is a little gift from God.
Yeah.
Sent to the
certain
people.
cultivars, dude, they're fucking fire.
I'm not a joint guy, but if somebody ever came up to me and said I rolled a sugar leaf joint, are you interested? I would hop all over that. I would hop all over. It's one of the most flavorful. Like I thought it was just hype. I didn't understand, and then I did it, and it is one of the most flavorful, most enjoyable ways to enjoy a joint. And it was just so good. It was so good. So needless to say, sugar leaves are primarily, you know, you get some good ones. Save those for some joints. You know, the ones I'm going to take out for my boys in the baseball game and have some fun. And then, yeah, I'm not a fan of dry trimming. I think personally it's more work because you have to be finicky. Like I don't know.
And that's where the preference
I have
comes
to
into
watch.
play, man.
That's just it. It's preference. I feel like it's yeah. How dry are you dry trimming and then it goes into the jar, or is there a little bit of a dry after that?
Oh yeah. I dry trim when it's ready to go into the jars. So and the leaves will be crispy enough to where really some of them just fall off just by gliding the
you can do take gloves. It just like I'll take my gloves sometimes. It's just like pull across the bud depending on the cultivar, and it'll just pull it right off. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm just smoking mine. I'm not going to the dispensary or anything like that. So I'm usually content. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy tight trim. You know, I'm good with it.
That's one of the biggest criticisms I get from the comment section of my videos is when I do bud porn, and people are like, oh, look at that. It's like a hairy woman. I'm like, maybe you like them hairy, man. I don't know. Personally, I love it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's like you said it. I'm not selling it, man. Right. Yeah. She don't like you, bro. You jealous. But yeah, so I do a final manicure before it goes into the jar because a wet trim, as great as it is, it's not tight. You can't. Those leaves are just like full of life still, and some of them kind of like settle out and you get a little bit of a twist that you can get some unevenness. So yeah, sometimes there's a final manicure is what I like to call it. Give them a little how do you do, throw them into the jar and away you go.
So once in the jar, how long do you cure it? Like it depends obviously in the cultivar and the person. How long are you curing on average? Because your process is a little different, you know what I'm saying, in comparison to ours.
That is a question I get a lot, is how long do I need to cure before I can sample it? I will not sample anything. The rule of thumb is no less than 2 weeks. I will not smoke something for less than 30 days. It needs to be in the jar for 30 days before I even think about it. Because it's still too moist. I don't like it. I don't like it when it's within that. Like, it's not that I don't like it. I just feel like the potential's not even there yet. You haven't even pulled out the greatness.
You know, it's like a rookie in their career. It's like, you're good, but we see the potential.
People always ask too, like, what are the great ways to grow weed? You need weed to grow weed. You know what I mean? You need to have a supply so that you can get through that dry, the cure, that night, so you can get there. You need to get there. You know, it's like one of the biggest misconceptions is that you're going to get into this and get something immediately. You're waiting a good half year. You're not getting anything for 6-8 months. You know what I mean?
If you're just getting started, man. Whew. I mean, that's even this. Everything we just talked about is like from beginning to end. It's like roughly 2 months flower, depending on the cultivar. Then there's your drying time, another week. Then there's your curing time. So it's like 3 months process just there alone. It's a quarter of the year.
That's not even veg.
A quarter of the year before that. So I mean, for me, I don't really cure quite as long. Just the cultivars I have right now. I do have one strain right now, this King Mamba OG, that I am doing that with because it's not slapping right away. But like the Headbanger is immediately just like, boom. The taste doesn't change. I've cured it up for 60 days before. It doesn't change at all. It's weird.
And I wouldn't even know. I've kind of just done this 30-day thing for like the last year and a bit, just because I've gotten to a point where I'm very fortunate that the supply is well stocked, and I can let something sit for 30 days and forget it's there, you know. But
I saw you nodding a lot about the 30 days, Chris, too. So you're obviously a lengthier cure as well.
Yeah, minimum 2 weeks. and at that point, I still taste the chlorophyll, right? So, as long as I have a stash on hand, 30 days at the minimum. If it's longer than that, that's great, because I think you briefly touched on it. Some cultivars, and this is according to Leafly, it can take up to 6 months, sometimes even longer than that, to get those, for a full cure, to make it to the true taste and smell of that cultivar. So yeah, it can be a lengthy cure, and 30 days at the minimum, really, for me.
And I think what needs to be pointed out is, like, I'm not curing. My shit ain't stored properly. I do store in a cool, moist environment. Well, not moist, but a cool. It's relatively 50. Well, it's 60 degrees in, give or take, in the jar, but it's in my basement in the dark. But I don't can my jars. I just use those typical canning jars with twisty lids.
Mason jars. Yep. Mason jars. Yep.
But they're twisted shut. They're not canned shut. And I think that would give I've never used, but there's an argument to be said about using those vaults, those
C-Vault.
Yeah, C-Vault.
Yep, they use those as well.
Right. So you want to have that good sealed cure, or you're not making it 6 months in those jars. You're not making it.
Yeah, really? You think so? I think those mason jars are solid. As long as you're twisting them tight enough, they're really solid. I haven't had any issues in regular mason jars like that.
I maybe it's my laziness in tightening them, yes, but I just
you start working out.
Hit it with the lip.
Like I've got buds in the jars right now. Like it's not unusual for me to have something that's over a year in my collection, and a lot of those over a years, yeah, they're not dried out like crust, but they're certainly not at an optimal.
I get what you mean, but do you use the humidity packs? Do you use those?
No.
Okay, I use the humidity packs.
For long
Vita
term
makes
storage.
one.
Yeah.
If I was going long term, that would be. Yeah, I definitely should.
Because those are like there's a 62% one, which is said to be ideal.
Right.
You pop one of those in there, and it stabilizes it at 62, and you can keep that for. I've had stuff for years.
I've never considered using like a Bovita. Is that what it is? Like a Bovita?
Yeah.
I've never considered. I only ever used them very early on in my career, but used them too early. A lot of people think they're good for, you pull your hair, you put it into a jar, and then you throw it back in there. What do you throw it back in there for? No, you need to maintain that moisture for a good few weeks before or at least a couple weeks before you're throwing a Bovita pack in there. But that I used them wrong. I used them the exact opposite way I just described. I was putting them in there, chop off my stuff, because when you chop it and everything feels moist or dry, it's like, oh no, and then you put it in the jar, and then you don't even put a Bovita pack in there, but all of a sudden everything's all stuck together because it's so moist still, and it's like, ah. See, what I was doing is I was chopping them, thinking, oh, okay, these are ready to go in the jar. Throw in a Bovita pack, throw it in the jar, and I was molding weed left, right, and center because I wasn't getting there fast enough to get the. It was not left. I'm exaggerating slightly.
Even once or twice.
My ignorance wasn't that bad. It does. It certainly does. But I've molded more weed using humidity packs, and this is not a shot at Bovita. This is a shot at my ignorance. Yeah. And I see in Bovita's comment sections people giving them shit.
system.
All right,
and it's
about
where I just
goddamn
stopped putting
time.
any nutrients for the next 2 weeks once it does seem done. Because I like to see that fade. I like to really, not all my cultivars do that, but some really get that beautiful fade to the hues that I'm like, this is what I'm looking for, man. The leaves got that purplish funk to them, just really nice. That's usually when I'm ready to pull. But I just the blunt I was just smoking, if you guys noticed, it was a completely white ash. I didn't flush that at all, just to see. And I got its sister next to it that I'm flushing, and I'm gonna see how that goes. If there's any difference, if I notice anything. I noticed that this one finished up very vibrant green, and this one's already starting to fade a little bit more. So that's the only thing I'm seeing.
What was the medium? Was that an organic?
Go. So an organic side, you wouldn't even need to flush. You would just.
Well, that's what I've heard. Is organic doesn't need to flush.
Yeah, but that's where even still, there's been some studies that have come out, again, potentially biased research from nutrient companies, saying you don't need to flush. But
a lot of it is.
I'm seeing it now. Like, I think a lot of it is how your plant's drying, and the not so much the residual nutrient buildup that could give you the burn, the harshness, things like that. Unless like you're really pushing it, but and maybe a foliar spray. If you're doing that in flower, I wouldn't recommend that ever. But now, hindsight, I'm like, was it any variables?
There's a lot of controversy or debate on the flushing process, and I'm sure we'll get dislikes for just being one way or the other. But Rob, like you had said, you like to see that fade in the leaves, the chlorophyll breakdown. I completely agree with you. That's the same way I am.
And we find ourselves at the stadium that played host to Super Bowl 52, the wondrous U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. It can certainly get loud inside this building. And just a few moments ago when the Vikings were introduced, it was downright shaking in here. They're set for football as the Vikings get ready to do battle with the Dallas Cowboys.
There's no difference versus flushing.
And a fair catch signaled for and taken successfully.
So it could be or you can take it as in, well, the plant doesn't need nutrients. It doesn't need any additional nutrients. The fact that you can cut it at that 2 weeks, right? So it's not going to make a difference. So why bother continuing to feed? But me personally, and this is one thing I had said in the video, is that fade, that chlorophyll breakdown.
Let's blaze up.
Something I like to see because although it happens in the curing process,
started off right, baby.
Chlorophyll breakdown as well. It seems like it's a jump start, right? If the chlorophyll process is already happening while the plant is still growing, so then there's less that needs to be done during the drying and the curing process. So ideally, it's a little bit faster of a cure in that case. And that was my argument behind it all. And for those
Bond looks to throw on first down. His first pass here is going to fall incomplete. Well, this defense.
Indoor growing. It's called 7 Steps to Grow Cannabis. You can get it on Amazon. What?
Did you have 2 books?
No, just one.
No,
Did I say 2?
Didn't you release one, an updated version or something?
It's a 3rd edition. So last year I did the 3rd edition of this book. It's called 7 Steps to Grow Cannabis. But there is a section on flushing, and I wrote that before this study came out. So I actually want to revise this section even more. But it does mention flushing before harvest. And there's a lot of general guidance, right? So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll check the ppm of the runoff to try to reduce the amount of nutrients, and therefore they should see a fade in their plant, right? So general guidance on there was like, okay, around 100 ppm, at that point you should be seeing that fade within the plant, and that's something I mentioned. That's something I'll definitely update because,
what the fuck,
like
bro?
you mentioned, there are these studies coming out that say it's not necessary. Some people say it's not necessary to flush. It doesn't make a difference. So I need to be more transparent, in the book.
Just thorough with it.
A revision that will come in. But yeah, my stance is just seeing that fade. Now, whether that be a flush, and you talked about leaching versus flushing, that's something there. People consider flushing as in running a large amount.
Strong in that victory from a week ago.
And no matter what's done throughout a ball game, it always comes back to
How the hell you
blocking
get
and
my
tackling.
point
That's
shot?
the essence of football.
Shot.
But I think it's hard for people to understand just how difficult it is to tackle, especially open field. Very few missed tackles on tape that I saw last game. This team does a nice job of getting their opponents on the ground.
An incomplete pass leads to 2nd and 10 from the 25.
Let's go. It's our turnover, brothers. It's our turnover.
Completes it to the fullback Ham. And down he goes, but he takes it up to the 40. They'll get 15 and a Vikings first down.
So, Charles, defensively here, you're going up against a veteran quarterback. He's got a lot of know-how, a ton of savvy, but a guy who's not the most mobile of quarterbacks. What's the plan of attack?
You spend all week pumping up your defensive front. Your defensive tackles, your defensive ends, your outside linebackers, the guys who go after the quarterback the most, because you know that he's not going to run and beat you consistently throughout the game. You can rush more aggressively off the edge and even up the middle, because even if he evades you, he's not going to go very far. You have a lot more confidence going after him in the pocket.
And they'll get to him after a gain of 7 to the 47.
Too many yards, fellas.
This defense, Charles, really played well in that win a week ago.
But we certainly had a nice conversation with the defensive coordinator, didn't we? And what we heard, I like what we did, but we definitely need more pressure on the quarterback this week.
So they'll come up after the gain of 7 on a 2nd and 3. Throwing his Cousins. The kicker here is complete. And he's going to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. Another good completion on the drive as the Vikings have a first down.
It's funny, throughout the time that we've been together, when we talk with running backs about the ability to catch the ball, their eyes light up when they talk about open field and having one-on-one matchups, don't they?
Yeah, they do. That's the reason why. What we just saw, shedding those tackles, and that's what they're used to doing.
It is, and it starts at the beginning of the play. One-on-one matchup if someone's trying to cover them, but they also like those one-on-ones downfield after the catch when they're running with the ball.
And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. Adam Thielen with touchdown number 7 on the year. And the Vikings have taken a first quarter lead. Greg Joseph on for the extra point. He's got it, and the Vikings take a 7-0 lead.
My steady guy. I'm going to read all of
The
this.
team on the field now as they will send this one away. This is Tony Pollard.
Man, I'm sorry for the loss, my man. Oh, shit. Come on, cuz. You can't be hitting my dudes like that. Yeah, what made you stop? Oh, okay. Yeah, you smoke cigarettes too, though?
Right, so you can either go into it, dread it, I gotta trim the next 2 or 3 hours, it's like, goddamn, sitting there bored.
Yeah, I just recently switched to non-tobacco products, though. Hoping that expand my cannabis life expectancy. But it's always edibles. I'm studying edibles in a minute anyway, so I'm gonna switch it on up every now and then. Let's do what we do, Zeke. Let's do what we do, Zeke.
And he's taken down, but able to
I'm gonna switch it up to edibles.
First play of the drive, a success, 19 yards. Interior of that line blocked really well on that run, but also the 2 tight ends, they blocked well too.
Not only have they scouted the line of scrimmage, with their agility, they can get upfield and hit moving targets like linebackers, defensive backs.
With edibles?
They do a really good job
just
helping
gave
out
it
the
all
running game.
Okay.
Let us know, so it's interesting to hear. We got some awesome viewers,
From all the way up at the 30
drink
now
dope?
after a good start to the drive.
Yeah, I know it. I can't drink.
They keep on the ground.
I can't handle my liquor. I can handle it, but it don't take much. And that shit nasty as fuck.
Earlier in the week, and most have heard this by now, there's so-called unnamed sources that were saying
I like to get to my destination, my little buzz, but sometimes the buzz get real nice, and before you know it, you overdid it.
How would you handle that as a coach?
Yeah, I always I don't always overdo it, but I overdo it for me. You know what I'm saying? I got my limit, and I'll be going over the limit that I like to be at.
And make sure that this isn't a distraction. They also know that once the grumbling
And end up
starts,
with that hangover.
slope, and it's hard to stop the fall. But I think you need to sit some guys down and say, hey, look, we're still hoping to be a playoff team this year. We need you guys to be bought in with what we're doing. Come on, let's get on board.
Yeah, I ain't used to this app though, man. I wasn't seeing your messages. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I think my phone was off for a minute too. I'm used to GroupMe. Right. Well, I don't even use the Discord. I got Discord, but
second down and 8.
I used it more than I used Band. Yeah, but I much rather play these games, man. I don't care about the win or loss. I just do this to pass some time, you feel me? I've been getting smashed lately in these leagues. I ain't as good as I used to be. Like last year's leagues. I mean, last year's, man. I've been getting spanked. I don't know what the young cats got now. Every now and then I have to go look at YouTube and see what the fuck going on. See why cats killing me. Certain passes. Running the same defense on me all day.
If you're a football guy, that's a pretty run because everyone is in sync right there. Obviously, the guy carrying the ball, but how about the people up front? Leverage, athleticism, they created some nice space for him.
We the two phoniest teams in the league, man.
Following the pickup of 4, here's 2nd and 6.
One of us got to be phonier than the other one. It's gonna have to be you, cuz.
Here's Elliott. It's a 5-yard gain, but they'll still be a yard short here with 3rd down now looming.
A quick burst there, and he nicely bit off a pretty decent gain.
Just the availability of plants, right? So if you're using bottled nutrients, most bottled lines,
you already know. It's the Cowboys, baby.
This is 3rd and 1. Very likely 4-down territory, even if they don't get it, though. They'll try and run for it with Elliott.
Ooh.
Give him a yard on the play, and he's definitely short. It'll be 4th down and a few inches.
That ain't what I meant to call. That is not what I meant to call. How we show, man? Come on now. Good trip up. Slow down territory for sure.
Feeling like they're not quite in field goal range yet. They're going to go for it on 4th.
Oh, get him now.
Running with Elliott. And he gets it to the 34. Good enough for the first. Well, we kind of looked at each other as they decided to go for it, but in the end, great execution, a 6-yard gain, and it all works out. The 4th down run successful. Now they look to pay it off on 1st down. The give is to Allen.
Damn, you missed your whole block, homie. What the fuck?
Eric Kendricks in on the tackle.
Well, sometimes you just have to give credit to the defense. Great job there at the point of attack, holding up. They won their battles at the line of scrimmage, left him no space to try and run. A really nice job swarming to the ball carrier.
The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9.
It's insane when you think about
a give to Elliott running left. And he's going to be stopped just short of the 1st down marker at the Vikings 25. 51 yards rushing for him now as he has gotten the night off to a hot start. 9th play coming up here on this drive. This is 3rd and a yard. Trying to run for it with Pollard. And he will have the 1st down across the 20 to the 19-yard line. Give him 6 yards, and they do convert on 3rd. All runs on this drive so far. It's 1st and 10. Here's Pollard.
Good shit, good move, baby.
Effort is going to get him stopped up just shy of the 10.
No, that was all me, though. That was me.
Leave him with a 2nd and 3.
You gotta give me my credit for that one. I worked hard for that one. Oh, okay. New Orleans computer. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's go, baby. 0-0.
Ezekiel Elliott, touchdown number 15 of the year.
Laces
the
out.
Cowboys are an extra point away from tying the football
No Finkel.
game.
All right, 0-0, baby. New game.
Good with a PAT. And that will tie our score here in this opening quarter of play.
I shoot myself in the foot sometimes. But I got this great long plant right now with this
Each team's had it. Each team has scored. 7-7 here as the kick's away. Keneduagu now out of his end zone. And that decision to bring it out ends up not being a good one. Costs him about 5 yards as he's tackled it.
D up, fellas. D up.
The Minnesota offense about ready to get this next drive underway. Coming off every player's friend, the open week from last weekend.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Even if you're coming off of a loss as they did, the open week is exactly what you need after you kind of get over it a little bit, right? Rest up the mind, rest up the body, get yourself ready to go. And they have to be eager to play again, especially since they lost the last time out.
For me, that's the only way I can go this whole thing without being stressed out, because it's taking what it wants.
Cousins on first down. Setting up the screen for Cook.
Whoa.
And he's going to be brought down.
Damn, I was supposed to switch to the closest man.
These two teams all time.
That's fucked up. I had the lineman back there on your ass, so he could at least made you move around a little bit. Good shit.
Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on first down.
Also having that top dressing certain times, whether it be before flowering starts, week 3 or week 4 in flowering, but making sure that you're replenishing that organic matter and trip off ball on that one.
I tripped it on the
Cousins out to his left.
Oh, come on! Good D.
Whenever you see a quarterback break contain, just think to yourself, the receivers on that side of the field, their number one job, make sure they get in his sight line so he can try and find someone downfield. Guys on the backside, make sure you don't give up the deep ball. They tried it there. They weren't able to connect.
I didn't have to risk me being an artist and trying to put it together. I don't really
throwing again on 2nd and 10. Cousins swinging this out wide here for Cook. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. He'll get 15 and a Vikings first down.
Another catch for him there on this drive, Brandon. And it looks like they're going to utilize him out of the backfield any way they can. And that time they pick up a first down. So now on defense, do you assign a man to him and try and cover him before he gets going?
So from Cowboy territory now, here's 1st and 10 at the 38. This one out quickly to Westbrook. 3 yards the gain there, 2nd down.
With my synthetic side, that's where sometimes the control is better for me. I can go and do a mix. Like right now with my vocal mix.
Now Cousins.
Oh, come on, man.
And he's going to have another first down here as the tackles made at the Cowboys' 17-yard line. 18 yards the gain for number 18.
Should smack his ass.
So from the 17 now, here's a 1st and 10. Cousins gives way to Cook. And he'll get 7 yards from the 17 to the 10 before he's taken down.
But no matter how they phrase it, staying on schedule, staying ahead of the sticks, whatever you want to call it, 7 yards on 1st down, that fits the bill.
Facing a 2nd and 3, ball on the 10. A give, this is Cook.
Good move.
And he'll be brought down this time at the 5-yard line. A 5-yard gain there makes it 1st and goal.
So many teams want to throw the ball in this situation nowadays, but I love watching a team that has enough confidence to go ahead and run the football. In that situation, that's almost a tendency for him.
Mixing and matching when it comes to lines, but you got a way that those are really looking at these 2 different lines. But if you know your chemical compounds, you know the makeup of the world, you can do that. Don't base it on the front numbers. It's not your end all be all. It's interesting.
To throw, Cousins. Dancing to his left.
Oh, good shit. Dang.
Touchdown,
All by
Vikings.
himself.
Adam Thielen with his 2nd touchdown of the game, number 8 on the
Nobody
season.
over there.
And the
What the
Vikings
fuck
have
y'all doing?
taken the lead. So they've had 2 drives, and he's had the 2 receiving touchdowns.
And how about a game plan where you decide to force feed or feature someone, and it works? First 2 drives, as you noted, end up in touchdown passes. I think they're going to keep going to them until the defense makes any kind of
Dang, you
adjustment.
done used 2 timeouts already?
It's good. And that makes
My
the
bad,
score 14-7.
fellas. Poor management. Poor management.
It's the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. Now Pollard.
Good block. Oh, damn.
And they will wrangle him down a couple yards shy of the 30.
Let's go, fellas.
About set for this next drive by the Cowboys offense. And they were winners the last time they took the field, which was 2 weeks ago. They had the open week last week, so this is a squad that should be really refreshed and ready to roll.
I would agree, because when you get that open week after a victory,
Saved
it
off.
does wonders for everyone. Obviously, your body get a chance to heal up, but your mind as well. You feel good about winning, so now you can get away from it for a few days, put down the playbook, turn off the film, just be you. Enjoy that time away.
Oh, that's
And he's going to be
bullshit.
taken down with a marker on the
Damn.
field. So let's see about the call. So a decent gain, but all for naught on the penalty.
It's too bad, isn't it? They were feeling pretty good about it. The only people celebrating,
That was a nice run,
the guys
too.
who just gave up that play.
That's probably why it was so nice.
Here's Prescott.
Ooh, good looking out. Glad you ain't turned
That
around.
one winds up incomplete.
I think he's got to be careful not to force anything into coverage right there. There weren't really any throwing lanes, but the best part for him, he's got 2nd and 3rd down to fall back on.
So they'll come up after the incompletion. 2nd down. Throwing. Prescott. Got it open.
Look at the first, look at the first.
My next teammate used to tell me all the time, I hate experienced
Damn.
quarterbacks because no
Good
matter
catch, though.
what,
I take
you
that,
really
baby.
can't hide what you're doing. And I think that right there, he knew right
He
away
was coming,
where the
too.
blitz was coming from, where his primary guy was going to be, and he would end up going to a secondary target for a nice
I
game.
was just going to ask you, that wasn't the primary target. He's so good at that, isn't he?
I think he knew right away that he wasn't going to get to his primary guy. I think he read that as soon as he got to the line of scrimmage, knew where the pressure was going to come from, and said, I know how to
Okay,
beat
then,
that,
Zeke.
and that's what he did.
86 yards rushing for him so far as his terrific season continues here.
Now you can still, for that particular line, there's got to be just base nutrients, right?
So after a good run by Zeke, another 1st and 10.
Base nutrients. And then from there is the additives.
Yeah, but you can break it down to choice of it. Now that would just be, the Pirelli and the Boeing. And then plus
Now Elliott. Even with the
Good
good
tackle.
footwork, he'll be stopped just inside the 35-yard line. It's a 6-yard gain on the ground, and that'll make it 2nd and 4.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a rundown, because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as well because you're headed towards the ball carrier with abandon.
On 2nd down now, it's Elliott.
Oh, damn.
Inside the 20 before he's brought down. Give him 15 there, and the Cowboys have a first. A tough run by Ezekiel Elliott, the 4th overall pick in the 2016 draft.
If you watch tape of him in college, you saw plenty of those runs, because I know the highlights showed him in the open field breaking away from people, but that's how he wore down.
Let's blaze up, coach.
Those exact type of runs.
Now I'll add in CalMag because I see calcium deficiency, magnesium deficiency, so adding that on top of it. And that's usually any brand. I know that you talk about a while ago, you said you wouldn't mix the brands.
We've hit the 2-minute mark of the 2nd quarter, 14-7.
Time for a reefer break, ladies and gentlemen.
Could be a different brand, but the base.
I think that would be one of the exceptions.
This is brought to you by Jack Herrera once again.
I'm a big fan of Kale and vinegar. I started with that years ago, and I still use it. I like it. You know, and some people are like, we want to do it.
Let's go.
Really
So from inside the 20, here's 1st and 10 at the 18.
I would say it would be more of a experience thing, not like if you, I would just focus if you're just getting started, or if you've been doing things for a while.
Here's Elliott. And he'll get this one down to about the 17.
Just don't go backwards.
Just
don't go backwards.
First down carry, so it's 2nd and 9. Now keep in mind, if you're thinking of staying on the ground, this is a top 5 rush defense.
Yeah, but I don't think you shy away totally with the run. At least show them a hint of a run before you decide to throw the football.
And so it's just like,
Here's 2nd and 9, just a yard on that last run.
In my opinion, if you're going to get the best result for all of them, I would choose to do the more. It's only when you're at the $36 US price point for like a 16-5.
They'll try the left side.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
this fucker got my jersey.
But this time they get him behind the line.
Good tackle.
2 yards the loss, and now
That was a motherfucking touchdown right there. I was too close. I was just too close to my lineman. That's all. I got cut that a little wider. Good arm tackle.
Creeping up on a minute to play in this first half.
I think we can get you though.
On 3rd down, it's Prescott.
Got him. Got him.
It's caught. It's Gallup.
Good
Touchdown,
fucking
Cowboys.
catch. We in if that had been the regular exhibition, he'd have dropped that shit.
On the season. And the Cowboys are an extra point away
Franchise.
from tying the ball game here in the
That
final
shit a little
minute
different.
of the
Shit
first
hit
half.
different. That's how you feel.
Zerline connects on the extra point, and we are tied here in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, that practice got him catching a little better.
This one tied at 14 now as he sends this one away. And no return on this one as the fair catch is signaled for and taken. Here are the Vikings now to start their next drive. And they've got just under 50 seconds, so time enough to try to work their way downfield if they so choose.
And they said, hey, you know, a lot of our constituents, basically, like their politics, a lot of our other companies we work with are working now with Alpha, and we choose not to. And what we may not be able to get as much supply to you guys, and we run into issues with distribution in there. Our goal is
a first down throw for Cousins.
Oh, come on, baby.
Incomplete. Good coverage there. Forced the ball
The gift.
and it's 2nd down.
That was a gift.
That's an excellent play by the defender. He diagnosed that one, closed quickly, and helped force the incompletion.
An incomplete pass leads to 2nd and 10 from the 25.
going over that because there's a lot of people who are recommending products and closing the doors, but that's the gamble. They don't realize it, so we're trying to help people there, and that's the thing.
That's a good idea. That's good content too. The community needs that kind of thing.
Appreciate it. That's a smart choice.
To throw is Cousins.
Oh, get in front of that, man. Looked like I was about to make that play.
The Vikings going to signal for the first of their timeouts as they stop it here with just under 40 ticks to go in this first half.
Extra water, excess water, that's just unclean. I don't know, I just don't feel great about it.
The soils too?
I was at the Cocoa, so yeah, getting rid of the cocoa too. Yeah, and I used it for a little bit, and I ended up having some salt issues, and salt also. Yeah, and so I don't feel good.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38.
I got to think of other people. I got kids, and my kids can have kids, and those kids can have kids, and we live long lives, so that's where I'm thinking, not just the money, but like, well, maybe I can fill it into that.
Cousins.
Like you mentioned in the video,
that is caught. Westbrook's got it.
Oh, my goodness. Caught me trying to... Damn, I was trying to switch my fucking play. I tried to... Should have called a timeout. Good shit. Capitalize on a mistake. Caught us slipping,
simple
fellas.
math here in the first half. They've had 3 drives offensively, and they have
But
scored
he did
every
leave
time.
us 30 seconds.
Well, whenever we talk about adjustments, we usually talk about an offense making adjustments, right? This is all about the defense. They've got to figure out some way somehow to slow them down. Do they blitz a little bit more? Do they play more zone coverage? Right now, they don't know where to go because they're hitting them in every direction.
Yeah. Some of that there.
The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away.
Okay.
It is fielded right at the goal line. Oh, he's going to take this.
Oh, no.
That's going to be a safety. So troubles here offensively. I
Son
tell
of
you,
a
the noise in this
bitch.
dome, that has got to
My
make it
bad,
harder for these
fellas.
guys to
Mental
hear.
mistake. I thought he was in bounds.
I'm shouting up here. But you're right. If you can't communicate well or get off the snap count properly, it can cause big problems. And this qualifies as a big problem.
I would like to ask for that back.
This is fielded at the 27.
Ooh-wee, fellas. Very bad mental mistake. At least we get the ball back.
About ready to get this next drive underway. And with a 2-score lead already, they may just look to get this thing to the locker room. On 1st and 10, Cousins being chased out left.
He still caught it?
Wow. The Vikings will use the second of their timeouts as it'll come with 15 seconds to play in the first half.
It's about time for my turnover.
If it comes out real high, bring it down a little bit. You know, and you can do something just like bigger. Like I've got white vinegar, I use apple cider vinegar. I've used both, and they actually both work. One takes a lot more than the other, so look into that. And then I've noticed too a lot of times, some people will be stuck on the fact that like, oh, I got to be.
Cousins now to throw on 1st down. Lets it fly for Thielen. It's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect.
He certainly had a good game throwing the ball so far, but I think he was trying to take that from good to great with that throw, trying to get one downfield.
2nd and 10.
I'm still saying strength. James is going to react specifically to how they're being fed. Not all of them are going to react the same, but on the organic side, they're going to take up what they want. The bigger pot's going to be easier for them to take up what they want. The smaller one, they're going to absorb it quick and break it.
Here's Cousins.
You know, and people will use something like...
going for Jefferson downfield.
Touchdown! What?
Jefferson.
What?
Final seconds of the first half. And the Vikings will extend their lead here just before halftime.
That's a lead that excites a team as they head into the half. Good way to finish things off.
Yeah, able to extend that lead, and you always say it. That can totally change the complexion of half number 2.
Yeah, it changes your morale, it changes your outlook. But even before that, let's see if they decide to
something up on defense, fellas. That was crazy.
Give up a big play right before the half ends.
Good shit.
The extra point splits the uprights, and that could be important as that makes this a 16-point lead.
Cowboys. Nothing but the Cowboys. Oh, for real? Are we the real Sunday nighter though?
So barring a touchback, this likely
For
the
real?
final act of the half as the kick is away.
That's what's up.
This taken in at the goal line.
And I'll be off Monday, so I can watch that shit. I ain't gotta worry about missing it while I'm at work Sunday.
And trust me, kids, if you had to look at Charles Davis every
That's
game, you'd
what's
think
up.
every
That's
day
good
was
news.
Halloween. As we'll head down to Orlando, that's where we find our man Jonathan Coachman at our EA Sports halftime report. Coach.
What time trick-or-treating started?
It's the Cowboys who get the football first, and they trail here as well as we resume action in the third quarter. Now Pollard.
Okay. Y'all doing it around the neighborhood, or y'all got it set up to where y'all go to like a parking lot or something and people go to the cars or something? Okay. Yeah.
About set for this next drive by the Cowboys offense. And right out of the gate, they face what you'd think could be a pretty important drive.
I would say so.
Ooh, motherfucker. Ooh, wait. That would have did it, fellas. That would have did it. That was beautiful right there.
That defense start cutting into this deficit. You can't have 3 and outs.
Stay focused.
8 yards to go on second down.
Chart in the back of the box in most cases that say
Stay focused.
This at this time, with this much price per million, with this PH.
Stick to the script.
Again, it's Elliott. And he'll take it ahead to the 28-yard line. 4 yards on the pickup there as it'll leave him with a third and about 4 more for a first.
Stick to the script. Plenty of time left. We need to play some defense, though. Goddamn, San Fran is undefeated in this league.
Here's Prescott.
Ooh, don't let him get that. Don't let him get that. I'm gonna let my nuts hang, though. Fuck that.
That's got to frustrate him a little bit because they nearly got to him there. And it would have been the first sack of the game. Instead, they're able to influence the release, and they did force the incomplete pass.
He got in there fast.
This offense converted once on 4th down earlier. Now they're out there again to try once more. They're indeed going for it. It's Prescott. Man open, that's complete to Dalton Schultz. And they nearly get this all the way to midfield. Mark him down at the 49. 21 yards there. A big play on 4th down.
And that's a big pickup of a first down. And you know
that getting a little bit too much pressure. He even got hit a little too hard too many times. What's going on? Come on, man. Why you need your block?
You work on 4th down situations as well.
And deflating for the defense. They can't get the stop here. The tackle there by Patrick Peterson.
Oh, my wife calling me at the wrong time.
Prescott now from the 50. And there is Amari Cooper, his first catch.
Oh! No, he denied me! Motherfucker! Good tackle.
There's no doubt in my mind that not many guys in this league
I ain't want to dive out of
he's
fucking
had
around
here
and
in the first
fumble
half
that
of the
shit, though.
season.
You
He's
know
been
what
a
I'm
big
saying?
play guy from the word go and continues to be one with another one right there.
You know how Madden be. You already got the momentum. I'm trying to get that shit back.
First and goal, and they got to be thinking a chance to get right back into this football game. Elliott.
Dig, Zeke. Dig, Zeke. Dig, Zeke. That's what's up.
Ezekiel Elliott.
That's what's up.
Second TD of the game and 16th on the season. And the Cowboys are able to cut into this lead as they score on the opening drive of the second half.
So Dak will bring the Cowboys up to go for the 2-point try. Prescott, they're going to throw.
Oh, good fucking damn! Wide the fuck open. Good shit. All right.
That deficit stays right where it is. Now after the touchdown, it's Zerline. He'll kick it away. Here are the Vikings now to start their next drive. They've got to right the ship. They had a great first half, but the lead has really gone down. Now, you know, you always talk about the adjustment to the adjustment. They've got to adjust right here.
And I think a lot of it is just mentally. Get back to doing what you were doing well in the beginning of the game, but a lot of that is playing with that emotion and that sense of pride and fire that sometimes goes away a little bit when you build up a lead. You think you've got it going, and you also think at any moment I can go ahead and go back to the way it was before. You and I both know it's not that easy once you get off the gas a little.
Yeah, they don't want to see this lead diminish anymore.
Gradually work your way up to it. It's not that hard. It's just like, you know, prime example is in jiu-jitsu. You start off and you're doing stuff like shrinking.
On 2nd and 7, Cousins. That's caught by the tight end, Irv Smith Jr. And he'll be out of bounds, but able to get it up past the 45. First target, first catch, and a first down.
And now we get into the psychology of the whole thing, because a lot of teams with a 2-score lead in the third quarter, they almost become defensive with their offense, just playing not to lose. I think with this team, you got to figure at this point, this is a great spot for them to go into attack mode, really try and put the hammer down and finish this one off.
First down, here's the run with Cook.
Oh, my angle. God damn this shit.
Just shy of the 40. 43 yards rushing for him now, and he's carried the ball just 5 times.
And that's why Dalvin Cook is the Minnesota Vikings featured back. You put the ball in his hands, good things happen. Second in the NFL last year in rushing with 1,557 yards, and that's now back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with 30 combined total touchdowns. What a player is Dalvin Cook.
And he'll work this forward for about 3 at 2nd down.
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly a win-win, but if you're on offense, you'll take that kind of a run, all right? It was kind of stacked up, found a little bit of yardage, and frankly, they're pretty close to staying on schedule on offense. The playbook is still open for the coordinator.
On 2nd down, it's Cook, and he works it past the 30, almost to the 25. It's a gain of 11 as the Vikings pick up the first.
Well, you certainly have to give a little credit here because they're playing this game now at their pace. This is ball control football, sustained runs, taking their time and making it work.
Yeah, the thing is, you see them, and then they're gone. So, you don't see any, you're following the garden, and then it's gone. And it's like, wait, what did you do?
Plants and not mention anything. Plants and veg and where's the flower up there? Already harvested.
First down, here's Cousins. Throw left side on target to Thielen. A gain of 6 there on first.
Take the family stuff over, they may not come back on the rest. I got 3 calls before it goes. They do the same thing. And if I should have just had a camera on the corner, like real world style, Big Brother, you guys in the entire time, and he's like, and the difference is how many videos do you and myself have on bugs, and mold, and deficiencies, I'm full of it. I have no idea. We went to put them out, but I have no.
On 2nd down, this is Madison. And he takes it down to the 10-yard line. A solid pickup of 12 yards, and now they're knocking on the door. Lots of praise on this drive, obviously. I know you're seeing what I'm seeing. Those guys up front, they're getting it done.
Doesn't matter what play is called. They are handling their business at the line of scrimmage and dominating right now on this drive.
So not quite a first and goal. It's 1st and 10 from the 10.
One thing I learned when I was working at Amazon.
They just do get the play off. Now Cousins. That's complete to his running back, Jefferson. That catch good for only a couple.
The goal of a wide receiver screen is get enough blockers in front to create a wall and let him pick his spot to run the football. How about the defense there, swarming to it and not allowing that to happen? Did not let him get downfield.
Here's 2nd and goal, operating from the 8-yard line. Handoff comes to Cook, and he will maneuver his way down to about the 7. Only a yard there, and that'll bring us to 3rd and goal. 1 quarter remains here on a Sunday night. We'll return with more after this. This is the NFL, and it's on EA Sports.
And then they get eaten. And the next thing you know, I go to look at the comment, it's gone. He's like, oh, did you realize that you were an asshole? And then the world started to realize.
A lot of tired bodies on that field, but this is a big play, 3rd and goal.
You know, whether you're a new grower, the ratio, repeating, so on and so forth. One additional thing that I think we should talk about is the order that you're mixing back.
Cousins now. Flushed out right.
What the fuck, no? Damn! Good shit. Wow, fellas, that was terrible.
Touchdown on the year. And the
might have
Vikings
did
look
it.
like they're going to get back in the win column as they extend their lead here in this 4th quarter.
It should have been, but my dudes wasn't reacting at all. I don't know what's going on. I lost digs.
He's been a busy man, 5 for 5 now as he knocks another
I wasn't paying attention.
to extend the lead.
Nah, I guess I just lost him. He's on my roster. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't fucking with the what's that shit? My negotiations. Those negotiations went bad. I didn't
Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes.
Yeah, but I don't be really paying that much attention, you know what I'm saying?
Taken at the goal line. And no chance to get away as
Yeah. I jumped in, they advanced. Yep, that's what it was. Some shit like that. Oh, absolutely. That was my main. That'd have been my main dude. And he young too, so you know I'd have had him for quite some time. This is only his 2nd year. Yeah.
For this next drive by the Cowboys offense.
It's all
coming
good.
off the extra week of rest, but this team started sluggish, and it really didn't get any better from there. And trailing big here in this 4th quarter. Meanwhile, Prescott's throw pulled in by Lamb. And he goes out of bounds just shy of the 45. 28 yards the gain there on the catch and run.
Well, I can put my defensive
that got
cap
hit
on
again.
right now, and I know they're saying don't give up any big plays now. They've controlled this game throughout, and all they want to do is see it through to the end. I think they let their guard down a little bit with that last completion. Sometimes when you're trying not to give up bigger plays, you don't react as fast as you should on other throws.
And he'll toss this one incomplete. Seeing no options, he throws it away. At this point, down big, you'd have to imagine this defense are just going to sit back, blanket the field as best they can.
Yeah, this is actually the easy part of the game for them because, just as you noted, they
Cool.
can
We're
sit
gonna have
back,
some
keep
good draft
everything in
picks
front of
again,
them.
fellas.
They blanketed the field the entire game using a variety of coverages.
To throw on 2nd and 10, Prescott. He finds his target, it's Schultz. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. 17 yards on the play as they try to eat into this 17-point deficit. You cannot write these guys off just yet, not with a quarterback like that under center.
You mean it actually crossed your mind with him running the team that you could actually maybe write this game off?
Not yet.
Not a chance. Not with him. We've seen it too many times.
Buying time to his left. Nothing open downfield, so he'll throw it away.
They've given up a few first downs on this drive, but getting the incompletion there, that should give them something to build on and maybe turn the tide.
Here's 2nd and 10.
To the horse's mouth and ask for company.
Prescott yet again. He's got a man complete. It's Amari Cooper. That'll leave him with a 3rd and 2 coming up. They got 8 yards there. Prescott to throw it. Swinging this out for Pollard. And he'll be out of bounds as he gets this down about the 21 or 22. That'll go as a pickup of 8.
Well, they've certainly done a nice job spreading the ball around on this drive. This time he gets it out to his back, and it's another nice play and another first down. They've got the defense on their heels a little bit. They're reacting instead of being aggressive and making plays.
Prescott on first down. Now he'll dump it underneath to his running back, complete. And stopped a few yards shy of the goal line at the 3. It's another first down as they look his way again, this time 19 yards. They'll try to run it in with Elliott.
Oh, that's my fault. That's my fault.
And no further. They'll say no gain on the play, and it'll be 2nd and goal. He's hit pay dirt a lot this year, but not that time.
Yeah, I'm tracking right there with you. You're exactly right. He's found the end zone plenty of times. No way I can find any fault with the call. He may not have scored there, but of course you're going to give it to him.
Again, it's Elliott. And he is into the end zone for a Cowboy touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott, a 3-yard touchdown run. And the Cowboys have got it back to a 2-score game here in the 4th.
What have you struggled with? Because I know things that I've struggled with, other people have excelled with. I've put in the comments some of your people. Absolutely. And if you're listening to this with an area to comment, I know we all got areas like forum, Ghost Club, Mr. Bros, Discord.com, or is it Gardens? Yep. It's just Discord.com. I know we've got forum over there, Business has his Discord, and Patreon, we all have Patreon areas, so if you're going to be able to engage and connect with the community, obviously check that out.
Zerline now for the PAT.
Other than that, I think that concludes it, boys. I think conversation
and the lead is trimmed down to 10. Now after the touchdown, it's Zerline. He'll kick it away. The Minnesota offense about ready to get this next drive underway. Now, there are 2 scores on the plus side. Still time here in this 4th quarter, but maybe you start thinking about playing keep away?
Yeah, I think here's the situation. You're not thinking touchdowns anymore. You're just thinking first downs.
To keep switching to the wrong dude.
First downs, they can't touch the ball.
An excellent way to start the drive there, 18 yards. One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. On the ground, it's Cook. And give him about 5 as he gets this up to the 48-yard line. I'm guessing you'd say this is kind of the key here. Grind out some yardage, work on that clock, see if you can continue to tick it down.
Definitely, you want to bleed things out at this point, right? Continue to possess the football, gain some yardage, put the onus on the defense. Do they have to use timeouts? What are they going to do to stop you? You're taking charge.
They'll try and run some clock here as they keep
I fucked up again. I'm hitting the panic button, baby. Oh, no.
Brandon, I got to think this offensive line has got some smiles on its faces. And I know it sounds crazy, but they practiced for this back in training camp. They knew they'd be in situations where it'd be extra defenders in the box coming after them, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
Welcome to the show. Yeah, really good to have you. You
excited for this one for sure. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Yeah, I've seen some of you guys' episodes, and it's cool to be on. So maybe to kind of get started,
Cousins on 3rd and 2. That's to Cook out of the backfield. And he is out of bounds inside the 35. Another good completion on the drive as the Vikings have a first down.
And that pickup of a first down, that's going to leave a mark because they really needed to stop them there, didn't they?
So frustrating. Defensively, you're a play away from getting that football back here down late. It's tough.
Now they've got to find a way to create a turnover or take
Panic
away.
button.
Otherwise, this one will probably get away from them.
Now the Cowboys going to burn the first of their timeouts. It's just their first. They'll be down to 2 remaining as we step aside here in the 4th quarter. 3 yards on that last carry. Here's 2nd and 7. From the shotgun, it's Cousins. He's got Smith here. And he'll get this one down to about the 20-yard line. Another good completion on the drive as the Vikings have a first down. From the gun, it's a give to Cook. And he'll take this inside the 20 and down to the 18. Micah Parsons, the rookie, in on the stop. Two minutes left to play in this football game here on EA Sports.
Knowing more about that, knowing how the plant works with these micronutrients is a big thing. And a lot of people sleep on that and they focus just on the bottles of bottles.
So the Vikings in possession of the football as we get you reset. And you'd have to figure they're just looking to burn these final 2 minutes away and get out of here with a victory. Throwing on 2nd and 8. Cousins to the end zone, but it's incomplete.
Finally a good play there defensively on the deep ball. The secondary has had its struggles this entire game. Offensively, they've had their way with them.
Now, this is a big 3rd down, and you'd have to think we'd see a timeout right away if they can't stop them here. Cousins to throw. And intercepted. Maybe the turning point they need. Picked off by the rookie, Kelvin Joseph. Well, this deep, particularly the secondary, has been picked apart in points here tonight. They finally, though, get to the quarterback, get a pick.
And we know this about him. He loves night games, loves the spotlight, loves being the center of attention. I will bet you that he ran off the field almost chuckling to himself. They finally got one. They finally got me.
About set for this next drive by the Cowboys offense. Last time they were out here, they had the benefit of good field position, led to a touchdown. This time, they're going to have to work for it.
They are, but with that last drive, that culminating touchdown, I think they carry that confidence into this one. Doesn't matter where you start with the football now, they have to feel great about their opportunity. And let's face it, this defense has had its share of struggles all game long, and they know that they can put it all behind them if they defend well here in the 2-minute drill. Excellent coverage right there to force the incompletion.
So after the incompletion on first, now 2nd and 10.
We partner with George to kind of bring his technology to market under the Atomic Plant Science brand.
To throw, Prescott. Able to find Gallup, and he'll be out right at the 35. It's a gain of 16 and a Dallas first down.
With George and Carolina and plants there look amazing. I should send you guys some footage of it, but
here's Dak. And this is intercepted, and that should do it. Picked up by Harrison Smith, and to the 43. So down inside the 45 to the 43-yard line. That's where they'll take over.
Oh, he got hit, too. No wonder. just enough.
Throwing here, Cousins. Oh, going for Jefferson.
Get it back. Oh, come on, man. Wow.
They're still taking shots.
Not content to sit on this lead at all. To me, it raises the question of what's right in this game nowadays. Do you sit on the ball and run it because you have enough of a lead? Or do you try and extend it because you always feel like the other team can come back?
Extend it. Have some fun. And that play will go nowhere. Losing yardage back near midfield at the 49. They call that a loss of 6 yards. And it's 3rd down now. Cousins. That's into the hands of Westbrook over the middle. And he stopped up short of the first as they tackle him down at about the 36. And passing yardage-wise, now up over 350 in this game. Pretty nice performance.
Definitely that, which usually means you're putting a lot of pressure on guys trying to cover. If you're a defensive back and they put over 350 yards on you, you've had a long day. The key to everything, if you're doing it without throwing interceptions or turning the ball over.
That's the strong to go, so breaking apart, it's very easy to think to take out both calcium and
Joseph's got it. That kick, by the way, Charles, a career long.
Well, we did watch him in pregame, and he hit from this distance.
Good game,
so
good
not
game.
A surprise, but there still is something exciting about it, carrying it over from practice and pregame to actually doing
Guess
it in
I
live
have to
action.
be the lesser.
On the return,
He made some crazy mental mistakes. That's what caused this. That safety.
Is going to elect not to return it.
And then that one play where I left your dudes wide open on some bullshit. And the play right before half. That last final second down there. Well, not final second, but
offense. And following the interception, we'll see what they can put together on this drive.
I hear my old college coach right now. He always used to tell us before every game, the team making a few
pressure coming from the Vikings, and they get there and bring him down.
Dax Woods tender than a motherfucker.
Take him down, and the clock will roll. The Cowboys signal for their 3rd and final timeout as they get it with just 19 seconds left on the clock. Back quite a ways here, facing 2nd and 19. Prescott. Under pressure, and they got to him again. Harrison Smith on the safety blitz, able to get the sack. Offensive explosion help leading them to victory, and the defensive guys, they're just saying, hey, put those points up every week, we'll just keep winning.
They will gratefully accept them, won't they? It makes their job that much easier when they're scoring that many points, allows them to play with a totally different style and a different flow.
Well, we took that L, fellas.
They fall a game under 500 now at 3 up and 4 down. And they'll hit the road next week to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Meanwhile, for Dallas, they dipped to 2-5 now with the loss. And they'll have a tough one at home next week against the Denver Broncos. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Alongside Charles Davis, we thank our entire crew.
All the way over, but
this is the NFL on EA Sports.
We're not exactly, especially with cannabis, we're not exactly interested in concentrated traits in the soil and then being available 16 weeks later. It doesn't exactly work for us, right? And so this was, this concept of how do we create something that's inspired, by nature, that's fully biodegradable. And it's actually a really interesting story. Way before my time, this group of scientists figured out that mollusks, with their shells, there's a lot of calcium in those shells, right? And mollusks actually take aspartic acid, which is an essential amino acid, and they polymerize this aspartic acid to create polyaspartic acid polymer. Okay, now it's got these negative charges that run up and down this polymer, right? And what this polymer does for the mollusks is it takes the calcium and it holds there in solution, and it allows the mollusks to be able to control the deposition rate of their calcium as they're building out their shells. Really fascinating, and you know, I think that these folks took inspiration of that and said, what if we could build, you know, a polyaspartic acid polymer ourselves, you know, predictably, you know, with a certain molecular size and weight, and we know it's biodegradable, it's nature makes it, you know, and I think it took a long time to get where we are